Ever wondered what it takes to be successful? In this video, I'm going to give you 3 steps that can maximise your chances of getting what you want from your career and your life. Hi, thanks very much for tuning in to the latest edition of the Edge of Next vlog, where we look at tools and techniques that can help you get into the future and really make a difference with your life and your career. Now, today's subject is something that I've touched upon before. I've experienced it in my life, and it's one that I think there are fundamentally no shortcuts, but being aware how to be focused and how to be successful is something I think everyone can really gain from. And that's probably more true today in the context of lots of us losing our job. I think today is a time where we can take stock and start to think about what you really want to do with your career. I've just spent an hour of my time watching the latest instalment of the latest version of the book The Secret. And this is a movie they've now got on the television, and honestly, you've got to get past the cheese even to start watching the thing. But if you've never come across The Secret's all about visualization and imagining what you want from your life, and the universe, the cosmos, will somehow send it to you. I wish it was that easy. Now, the premise of The Secret is that if you imagine what you want, the universe will bring it to you. Now, that's fine, and I think focusing on something isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you know what? It's got nothing to do with the universe or the cosmos. It's got to do with other things. And the first thing I think you should think about if you're looking for a career change, or you're looking for getting into an area where you really enjoy working, is to actually discover what your talents are. Because I might want to play rugby for Scotland, but I'm the wrong age, I'm the wrong size, and I haven't dedicated my life to actually becoming a rugby player for Scotland. And that's a clue to the second part of this. The one thing I've learned over the years is there's something that you have to focus on if you're going to get out of life what you want to get out of it. And that isn't easy, and that is hard graft. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, if you find something that you think you've got a little bit of talent, and that's all you need, a little bit of talent, and you want to stand out from everybody else, you need to start to make sacrifices. That sacrifice could take you away from your friends, it could take you away from your family, it could take you away from birthday parties, it can change your life. But the evidence is that if you really, really put the effort in, that's how you get close to being into the next phase of this, which is even more interesting. Now, let me give you an example. 18 months ago, I decided I wanted to be a professional speaker. Now, that was a big change for me because I'd spent best part of 10 years working in consulting, followed by setting up my own company with my other half, and we'd been basically working in the consulting world. We made good money, it was good work, we were all over the world, we did quite well at it. But I decided that I wanted to do something else. I wanted to use my artistic talent for what it is, and I wanted to do the thing that everybody told me I had a talent for, and that was professional speaking. So, I mean, my inner working class lad from Carluke in Scotland had a real problem with that, because I had to leave a well-paid job and go into a job full of uncertainty. Now, I knew I was okay at public speaking. I also knew that I wasn't Ken Robinson. I also knew that there were other people much, much better than me. I had a habit of getting overexcited, my adrenaline would kick in, I would run around the stage, I would swear too much, all sorts of things, and I knew I did them. I'd had feedback, I knew I did them. So despite the fact I had lots of people telling me, yeah, you should be a professional speaker, Scott, I knew I wasn't the finished article. So what did I do? Well, I started to put the hours in. And other people will have heard me say this before. I believe to be good at what I do is, it's simple. You have to speak. You have to just get out there and speak. Now, there are those in the speaking industry who don't agree with that. They think you should wait for the right gig, you should perfect your keynote, you should practice that. But I believed I had to get in front of an audience. I had to get personal feedback from an audience from across the sectors, not just in the corporate world, but also in the personal development world, which involves real people. Now, in the entrepreneurial world, there are all sorts of people out there selling courses. It'll be 6 weeks to excellence, or 6 weeks, 6 steps, or 12 steps to your dream job. Now, some of these courses are pretty good and quite interesting, and they can start to focus you. But you're not going to go from zero to hero in 6 weeks. You're not going to go from being a beginner to an expert having done a 12-week course. You have to put the time in. You have to get the experience that people can see and feel, that authenticity, when you actually start to do the thing on the big stage, in my example, where you're really trying to influence people and help them with tools and techniques to help them get into the future of work. So last year, I did 140 events. That meant I was travelling up and down the country. I was going to pubs and clubs, literally, to speak to 20 or 30 people. I was trying ideas out. I was trying to test where the idea worked, or where the tool really resonated with the audience, where the laugh worked when I occasionally used humour. And that started to inform how I built my speeches for the bigger stage. Now, that experience is so important, and I have to be honest, it was hard. It took me away from the house. I had to travel a lot. I didn't spend as much time with my children as I would like to have spent. But I knew that if I stuck at it, and because I had a little bit of talent in that area, that perhaps I could be good at it and make a living out of it. Now, as I've always said, and as I've frequently found, sometimes the poets say it better than I ever could. So I'm going to ask you to listen to one of my favourite poets, and that's Charles Bukowski, and his classic piece called Roll the Dice. But please hang around to the end of the poem, and I'll give you the formula with the secret ingredient that will show you how you can be successful at whatever you want to do, where you've got the talent, at work or at home. Over to you, Charles.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you are going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds. And it will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
I hope you found that poem as inspiring as I do, and I know some people find it slightly old-fashioned, and it is slightly old-fashioned. He's very much a white man. However, I think the sentiment in there really resonates. Certainly it resonates with me, and I love the line, isolation is a gift, and it doesn't always feel like that just now, does it? But it does allow you to put the time in to actually get good at what you want to do. But I promised there was a secret ingredient, and that secret ingredient is not always obvious, but it does explain why I did so many events last year, and that secret ingredient is luck. You can talk to anyone who's really successful, and they will tell you that something happened, something lucky happened. So for me, I grew up in a council estate in a fairly rough part of Scotland. There was no way I should be doing what I'm doing for a living back then. If you I even say to my father now what I'm doing, he's not quite sure, and I'm sure he's not sure why I left a well-paid job to do the work of a professional speaker. But I bumped into people throughout my life just by pure luck. I had a professor at university who inspired me. My first wife, Julie, she came from a different place to me, and she completely changed my perspective on how I could aspire to do better. I then, bump into a girl at a bar in London, and she ends up being my partner, Samantha, who again has nudged me forward to get better and better and better at what I do. And I do believe, it's a bit of an old trite saying, but I do believe the more you practice, the luckier you get. And that's why I did some mini gigs last year on stages that were not paying particularly well, and some of them weren't even paying at all. I know that's blasphemy in the speaking world, but that experience led me to work in interesting companies all over the world. So for me, luck is the final, but perhaps the most difficult part of the formula. So let me remind you what the formula is. The formula is you have to find something you've actually got a little talent for. There is no point in me wanting to be a basketball player. I'm 5'9". It's not going to happen. The second thing is you've got to be prepared to put the effort in. You've got to be prepared to graft. And that can mean difficult life choices. That can mean changing relationships. You can lose relationships. That can mean not spending the time you'd like to spend with your family and friends. But that sacrifice is something you must put in if you're going to emerge from the period of growth to do what you want to do. And then finally, luck. Now, that's a difficult one because it's very difficult to create luck. As I said, the more you practice, the luckier you get. I think that's true. But I think you get lucky when you spot things. You're looking for opportunities. You're talking to people on the train or on a Zoom call. And that combination of talent, determination and effort and luck is the key to success. Thanks very much for listening to my latest podcast. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button down here in the bottom right hand corner. And if you want to get notifications of all my videos as they come out, hit the little bell and you'll get a notification that I've produced another video. Thanks very much.